right, Duke and Northwestern. We've got Northwestern 3-point home favorites, 37 the total. Look at that total. And this is an effect of where the home games are being played. Close to Lake Michigan there in Illinois. Wind is an issue. And obviously when we talk about totals and when do you want to bet unders because of weather? When wind is a factor. And that clearly could be the case when you're playing that close to the lake, which is where Northwestern is playing their home games right now. And obviously we saw signs of that last week in their season opener against Miami of O in that very same stadium against the Red Hawks. I mean, it was just almost like a wind vortex, if you will. And obviously struggles to move the football. 19 points in that game. You didn't even have to sweat it. Total was 40. 13-6 Northwestern beating the defending MAC champions, Miami, Ohio, last week. I love the defense. Look, Northwestern played excellent on the defensive side of the ball for the most part. They held Miami O to 40 yards rushing, which is good to see. They did throw the ball a little bit. Brett Gabbert, the secondary was a little weaker, but 2 key interceptions. They forced some interceptions, turnovers of Gabbert, which were the difference. I'm still not a big Mike Wright guy. The Vanderbilt transfer at quarterback. He wasn't great, 18 of 30. You need to be a little bit more efficient in your completion percentage than that. 178 passing yards. I'm not shocked. I've seen enough Mike Wright going back to Vanderbilt. That's what you're going to get. Ham and egg or quarterback. Not someone that I'm really all that fond of when you look at it. I do like Northwestern, though, and what they've done. Braun's done an outstanding job. They've now covered 8 straight. 8-0 against the number dating back to last year, Northwestern, in their last 8 games. They've been a point spread machine. They've been undervalued. And obviously you're only laying 3 with them here. But Duke, look, Elon's a solid. I don't want to say they're an elite FCS team. They're a solid FCS team. They're a good FCS team. So, it wasn't a garbage can that they played last week, Duke. In that 26-3 win. It was concerning. It took a while for the offense to get going, but in that second half, it got going. And Malik Murphy, the Texas transfer, really got going in the second half. 291 passing yards, 26 of 40, 2 touchdowns in that game. Couldn't run the football, which is concerning. Only 59 rushing yards, but they did throw the ball pretty well. Northwestern secondary a little weaker. I'm having a tough time with this one. I don't know if I want to fade the Northwestern 8-game point spread covering streak. 8 straight point spread covers, 8-0 against the spread for Northwestern in their last 8 games dating back to last year. I don't think I want to step in front of that, especially after seeing them beat a solid MAC team, the defending champion, Miami, Ohio, from the MAC last week. But Duke will be tougher. I'm concerned about the Northwestern secondary, which is the weaker part of the defense against Malik Murphy, who had showed that he could get the ball downfield a little bit through the air. And I'm just flat out thinking that as far as ceiling CMAC with these 2 quarterbacks, who's got the higher ceiling? I'll take Malik Murphy in a heartbeat over Mike Wright. Mike Wright's never going to get any better. He's been in college for several years. He really hasn't gotten much better. Malik Murphy, okay, didn't work out in Texas, but you take a step down now. You're in the ACC. You're at Duke. A little manageable now as far as the schedule and the quality of opponent you're facing. I just think he's the better QB, and sometimes I have a tough time betting against the better quarterback, the more talented quarterback, when they're getting a field goal. So it's probably a conflict game for me, probably going to be a pass game for me. C-Mac, what do you think here? Duke, Northwestern.
Man, this should be smash mouth. If you got in on this under, if you got like a 39.5, 39, I think it was, and that is low, because I think this game is just a handoff, control, slow game. Northwestern, I think the defense will be very good. 6-2 the last 8 to the under. You mentioned 8-0 against the number, ATS. And I think this game, would be like 16-13 maybe type game here. One thing in this rivalry, I forget these teams play just about every year, but man, Duke's just owned 5 straight wins, 5 straight covers too. Not even just wins, but I don't know what we get here. I like that under 39. It's a little bit low. Even at 37, I'd lean that way. Even a field goal at home, I'm not taking Northwestern. No way. In a dogfight game like this, if we get the hook, I'd be interested in Duke, because I think they could keep this close. I think you have a little bit of the better quarterback with Murphy. And you mentioned, I'm not a huge Mike Wright. They're just going to run it, play that good defense. But it's been what Braun's done there at Northwestern has been great to end the season. And, already a win, 13-6, an ugly one. And this one could be ugly too. So, yeah, under here. And maybe if I get the hook, as much as Northwestern's just been red hot ATS, maybe 3.5 will have a little value here with Duke.
Oh, coming out of the Pat Fitzgerald mess, that was a shit show he inherited, David Braun. He's done an outstanding job. Outstanding. And I don't think they're overly talented, but you talk about a coach that gets the absolute most out of what
his players, got,
he does that, and he's done an outstanding job. That being said, how many of these games of Northwestern that like I said, they've covered 8 in a row. How many of them have they been underdogs? Well, they were 3-point favorites last week against Miami. Purdue, they were 2.5-point favorites, and every other game that they covered during this 8-0 ATS run, they were dogs. So that speaks to the point where do we want to lay a field goal? Certainly not more than a field goal with Northwestern. Yeah. So interesting game, though. We're going to find out a lot about these two teams on Friday night. Like I say, I don't want to fade the Northwestern ATS streak. But at the same point in time, I think Duke's got the better quarterback here in this game. And we'll have to see with Manny Diaz, right? It was not good at Miami last time he was head coach, but he's a respected DC. He's now the head coach here at Duke. Let's see what he does. He's obviously got a big shoes to fill when you talk about Mike Elko and the job he did there. All right, let's go to